Hey guys, Mitch Fitzpatrick here with Applied Ballistics. I've got Francis Cologne with me, and we're going to give you a quick overview of how to do a tall target test. Go ahead, Francis.
So what we've got, our target is set up, it's more than 36 inches tall. At 100 yards exactly to our shooting line, we know that 36 inches for a mil-based scope will give us 10 mils of elevation. So our 4 lines here are exactly plumb. You can see they're perfectly vertical. We've also got 3 0 marks. This is for us to get a rough 0 to make sure we're very close to our point of aim. And then when we shoot the test, we're simply going to aim at the bottom with our 0, shoot a group of 5, dial up 10 mils, still aim at the bottom, but our bullets will hit at the top of the target. When we measure that spacing, we should have a good offset to know whether our scope is tracking the way we expect it to.
And also whether or not it's level, whether
Correct.
it follows the plumb line.
Important safety note, make sure if you're setting up a tall target that you know what's behind the upper limit of your target. So in this case, we know we have safety because we actually have a dirt berm and wood berm right behind this line, but we don't want any bullets to cross this threshold. So now we're going to go up to the lab. We're actually going to shoot the target, and then we'll come back and look at some of the results.
All right, so we just finished shooting the test. We're going to pull the target down, and we're actually going to take it inside to take some measurements with calipers and establish exactly how the scope tracked. All right, so we're back inside. We brought the target in. We've got some calipers, we've got some Sharpies. We're going to take a look at the results and see how this scope tested out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the vertical group center for both the 0 group and the plus 10 mils group. And so this group, bullet center to bullet center, measures about 3/4 of a minute, 0.75. So we've got our vertical group center for this group. We're going to do the same over here. Coming in just under 0.7. We're going to come up to about 0.35. So now what we're going to do is we're going to measure the offset difference of the center of the group to the aim point, and from the center of the group to what the impact point should have been for plus 10 mils. And if that offset is the same, then we know that our scope is tracking perfectly. The reason we're doing this is because since the rifle isn't perfectly zeroed, by measuring the offsets, we're eliminating that 0 from the measurement. Okay, Francis, so the 0 group, we were 0.54 below center. And the plus 10 mil group, we were 0.43 below center. So now we'll do the math on that. Just use calculator on your phone. So we were just over, there's just over a 1/10 of an inch difference, 0.11, which is well under 1 click of adjustment. So we're using a 1/10 of a mil scope. And so, 1/10 of a mil at 100 yards is going to be about 0.33 inches. So we're well under 1/10. So the scope is tracking really well, essentially, is what we've established there. So now we're going to kind of repeat the process, but we're going to do that for the horizontal offset. And what that's going to tell us is how level our scope is with the bubble level that we have mounted. Okay, so the 0 group is 0.38 right of center. And that group is 0.25 right of center. So that also gives us a difference of 0.13. So almost the exact same offset in the horizontal dimension. Again, it's about 1/3 of a 1/10 mil click. So for our purposes, for a tall target test that's 10 mils tall, we're going to consider this scope level within our ability to measure and tracking within our ability to measure. If you wanted to get a little bit more precise, you could run the tall target at like 20 mils or 30 mils if you have the ability to do so, and it'll magnify some of these errors. Another good thing to do is actually repeat the test. We could have shot this same rifle, we could have done 4 tests and then averaged all of that to get a better representation of what's really going on. But as far as just conducting a target test, this tells us that our scope is tracking and that our level is vertical.
So just to do a quick recap on everything that we've covered today. First thing we want to do, create a target that's about 36 inches or more long. Make sure it's plumb and if the line you're shooting at is perfectly up and down. We're going to zero our rifle, make sure we're approximately close to zero, shoot a 5-round group at our 0 aim point, which is on the bottom of the target. We're going to dial up 10 mils, shoot another 5 at the top, that will land at the top. We're still aiming at the bottom. Then when we pull our target down, we're simply going to find the middle of the group, both up, down, left, right, on both the 0 and your upper, and just measure how far those are both away from the intended marks that you should have hit. If you're using an MOA scope, there's going to be some small changes in the math, but again, the important component is making sure you're set up at exactly 100 yards and your marks line up for the number of units that you're dialing into your scope for the tall target test.
Yeah, the units aren't really important. The important thing is that you take the time to run the math and figure out exactly what your offset is. For us, it was exactly 36 inches because we were at exactly 100 yards and exactly 10 mils. However, if you wanted to do 20 mils, then we would have needed 72 inches. Or if we were at 101 yards or at 99 or 98 yards, you have to factor that in. That's really important when you're doing a tall target test. So one of the most important takeaways you can have on this is to make sure you check the math. There's lots of resources online for figuring out how to calculate what your how many inches that you need for a given mil value or a given MOA value. But that's really one of the key aspects of doing a good tall target test.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep, thank you.